Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Yale number KP4. This video is to just show you what a cylinder collar or trim ring looks like, or whatever you call it, a cylinder guard, a trim ring, a collar. The proper term is really cylinder collar. Those other terms, trim ring and cylinder guard, they mean different variants of this. But what they all share in common is that a cylinder is going to go through this. This really just finishes off the installation of a cylinder. I have a Yale 1109 here, so we'll use it as a prop. When you install a rim cylinder for sure, it's going to use a cylinder collar like this. Let's say that takes 1.25 inch diameter hole to get it installed. Well, you don't have a lot of distance between the OD of the body and the OD of the head of the cylinder collar. So you'll use a cylinder head. You'll use a cylinder collar or a trim ring like this to finish off the installation. It would be unusual to install just this through the door. Plus, the entire length of this may not be compatible with your application, so that's why you'll see this. Now, what's interesting about the 1109 is which is a rim cylinder from Yale, it doesn't include this KP4, but they'll put it in the box if you ask for it. So, anytime you buy a rim cylinder, it ought to come with this. Be sure to specify that you need this. It doesn't add any cost according to the manufacturer, but they are going to want to not include it unless we ask for it. The OD of this piece, 1.9 on the nose, 1.9 inch. The ID, 1.245, so just shy on 1.25 inches. Thickness is about 0.146, and the only amount that this is really going to take up of the length of the cylinder is about 50 thousandths. There's a small little shoulder that's here, and that's all that's going to do. Again, 613 finish, obviously available in all of the different finish properties that you can do on the cylinders. Let's switch quickly to the screen view, and I will show you some of the supporting information as it pertains to collars from Yale. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Okay, I'm parked here on a 1109 rim cylinder page. There's a link to the manufacturer's page here. You can also get to it from the word manufacturers. Right of center on the bottom of any page. And then from there, once you fire that up, you can do a find function on your keyboard. Control F for Yale, and you'll find it. It's alphabetical too. It's basically at the bottom of the page. You click on that, and then fire up the full product catalog. And once that document loads, it's going to take a minute. Okay, here we are. And then do a find function again for KP4. And you're going to get to a page where it's going to show cylinder collars. So there are different types of cylinder collars. Trim rings, cylinder guards. Right out of the Yale book, here's our KP4. Showing you a cross-section, what it looks like. I said 50 thousandths earlier. 30, 15. I was wrong. It's about 75 thousandths in terms of what it would actually consume. The other collars that you could use would be a 1765, a 1766, a 599. First of all, the 599 and the 1765 look basically identical. I stared at this one time for a day and a half. I couldn't figure out the difference. The only difference is square edge on the 1765 versus a radiused edge here. Probably going to have everything to do with whether or not you're installing it into something. I might be more prone to use a 599 if my cylinder is going into a escutcheon. The 1766 is used in their high security cylinders. and a high security cylinder would carry a UL 437 rating by Yale. In order to maintain that rating, you would need to use this 1766. But there's our KP4. It shows up a few dozen times in the catalog, listings of different cylinders and what it's included in or how it's shown to be used, things of that nature would be in the catalog. Okay, so I'll leave it up to you to discover the rest of the Yale catalog. But if I was going to suggest a section that would be important, I might get to the cylinders and key sections. This talks about all things cylinder related. There's a UL 437 compliant cylinder right there. Large format, interchangeable core, conventional, probably key and knob, key and lever lock. Could be deadbolt. Obviously different mortise and rim cylinders are shown here. 3 different keys. The R bow, I think that's the F bow. I forget the name of that. That's a high security bow. That's the bow you would use in a control key. Pins, tail pieces, and cams. This is a neat section of the catalog because it will allow you to familiarize yourself with their cylinders. And if you're looking at a KP4 video, it's cylinder related. There's a breakdown of that UL compliant high security cylinder, and there indeed is our 1766 collar. Anti-drill pins, etc., to make this pick resistant, drill resistant, things of that nature. The final thing I'd like to point out to you as I scroll to it would be the area where they show you how to order the key blanks, and here they are. Here's the how to order. You want the bow. It's always going to be N for nickel silver, and then you're going to need a number after it. So an RN11 is going to be an R bow, nickel silver, 6-pin blank. It's going to look like this, RN11. That's the F bow for control keys, and that's the A bow. That's for high security. It's unusual to see an A bow. That actually looks like a neuter bow that you would see from Kaba Ilko. Neuter bow means it's a generic head of a key that doesn't tip you off as to who the manufacturer is. So that does certainly serve to lend itself to the high security nature of the product. If you can't tell what the head of the key looks like because it's a neuter bow, meaning it's a generic bow, obviously if they're putting the name Yale on it, that's going to tip you off. This is a very, easy to spot bow of a key, as is the R bow, the common head for Yale. Fun fact, Yale is the sole supplier of locks to the United States Postal Service. Fun fact about that is it's actually technically a federal crime to attempt to purchase that material. So don't try to buy locks for Postal Service applications. Their standard keyway is the E1R, or what we call para, and it stands for paracentric. Paracentric means that it crosses over an imaginary vertical line here. That makes it paracentric. That also serves the long-term security design of a cylinder. That would be the common keyway. If you don't specify, the 1109 rim cylinder will be E1R. It's also simplex, meaning it doesn't participate in the family of a multiplex keyway. You've got maybe 9 keyways down here, or 8. Yeah, 8 keyways in cylinders, but then there are these multi-section and all-section blanks. The E1R does not participate in that. What a multiplex keyway system is and why it exists is a very different conversation, one that I'd like to have with you if you want to talk about that, etc. For the keyways that they show here, there will be scores of others that they don't show, only because, well, first of all, Yale's been around for 170 years, so there's lots of keyways that just don't exist, but you'll have installations, universities that are 150 years old that have, key systems that are literally 19th century. It's possible. But then there's all the restricted, patented keyways that they're not going to share in an open medium like their product catalog. Other parts and pieces are here for their cylinders. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. And that is actually no exaggeration that Yale's been around for 170 years. It's Linus Yale Jr., who is the son of Linus Yale Sr., as you might imagine. The father was a lock maker. I think he specialized in bank locks. The son went into the builder's hardware, created the builder's hardware category. He patented the pin tumbler cylinder. He was, from what I have come to understand through reading and being in class, in locksmithing classes, that he was certainly influenced by an Egyptian design that's 4,000 years old. But we use Yale technology every single day. I don't believe there's anyone here, at least in North America, that doesn't use a lock that is a direct descendant of the Yale original patent, which I think was in 1861, maybe. Don't quote me, right around the Civil War. And before that, you would have had lever tumbler locks. And lever tumbler locks go back to the 19th century, if not the 17th century. Probably the 17th century. And it's just, the tumbler is the term that we use to describe the blockage. A lock has a blockage. The key removes the blockage so that it can work. The tumbler is the blockage, whether it be a disc or a wafer tumbler or a lever tumbler or a pin tumbler, which is the modern design, of which most locks, especially in North America, have evolved out of, whether it be a sister company like Medico, who has extremely capable high security cylinder technologies. It shares that in common with a 170-year-old, sort of 160-year-old patent, really. Yale has high security stuff, but it, again, incorporates the pin tumbler. And there's not a lot of companies that I can think of that don't, and the ones that don't are not North American or American in origin. The one that comes to mind is Obloy. If you want to see a really cool lock, look up the Obloy lock. You can get it in mortise cylinders. No pin tumblers in that. Pretty cool. Multi-lock is a little bit different as well. Dimple keys, they still have tumblers, but they're a little different as well. So a lot of high security cylinders are all premised on this initial patent that Yale did. That's all there is to it. Any questions on that KP4 collar or any other Yale product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.